What is up, y'all? It is Grant with another episode of the Groovy Files. Today, I have with me Donovan.
Yo.
All right, this homie Donovan, and then I got my man Reek, longtime friend.
Yo.
And today we will be
my general. Pleasure served.
My fucking guy. My fucking guy.
And so today we will be discussing Kendrick Lamar, what his legacy is, our favorite songs from him, what we expect from Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So off rip, I had been expecting a Heart Part 5 for a very long time. I am very glad Kendrick just forgot that he said, hey, the heart has 4 chambers. I'm super glad he forgot that shit. Because I want another Heart Part 5. I wanted a Heart Part 5. But to say I am pleased with what I heard is an understatement. Considering Kendrick is such a mysterious guy, and until you are literally in his rollout, you never know. You just absolutely never know what this stuff is this album gonna sound like. You can listen to features, open to it, all that type of stuff, but until that rollout starts, you just never know what it's gonna sound like. So I was very pleased with what I heard. I'm surprised about who the song was produced by. Beach Noise and the Marvin Gaye sample, which probably cost a fortune. Or they just rock with super heavy.
Hey, bro. I don't know what he did to get that sample, bro, but I don't know, bro. I was like, damn, he got that motherfucker cleared. I was surprised.
I think Kendrick got some of the biggest musical clout in the industry as a whole.
Oh, for sure.
It's really like him and Beyonce type shit. Like, if Kendrick could probably ask majority of people to do majority of work, and they will automatically say yes because it is just because it's him.
He's delivered so much throughout his entire career. We know he's not going to be the one. If anybody gonna butcher a sample, it's not going to be him. I tell you that shit right now. But like with the Heart Part 5 in itself, I have it in the middle amongst Kendrick songs. Like, not Kendrick songs, I have it in the middle amongst the heart, like the list of hearts, like dead smack dab in the middle. But I will say it was so refreshing and so great to hear that his pen had just not lost itself, if not gotten better. With the Heart Part 5. Like, listen to this, I'm like, damn, this nigga is really bad. Like, he is not coming to play. I know for a fact that this album is going to deliver. Like, with the Heart Part 4, I was definitely impressed, of course, but I kind of had an idea of what the album was going to. I had like going off to September Butterfly, and going into Damn, I knew kind of like what he was going to go with the album in terms of like what he was aiming for. Like, I knew it was going to be an album that, like, to Remember Butterfly was polarizing. Like, it was easily his most polarizing project up to date. And then, so I had an idea like, hey, Damn, you are officially a megastar in hip hop. I'm assuming this album is going to be kind of like, I don't want to say like commercial, but like definitely more mainstream accessible than a lot of Kendrick albums, even though Good Kid, Mad City was pretty mainstream accessible. But yeah, like on the song, I think the end of the second verse and then the whole entire third verse, where he is rapping in Nipsey's point of view, was such a great thing, because considering Kendrick, like, and throughout the blog era, Kendrick pretty much grew up, like, they grew together as our, like, we talk about like our Future, TD and all them, like Kendrick and Nick, like it's just so awesome. It was just awesome to see him to shout him out. Like him and Kobe, like when they popped up on the screen as deep fakes, I was just granted that deep fake stuff, it just creeps me out in general. But like,
Oh yeah.
but like seeing him that he did that, because like it really does mean a lot.
Now, I can't even lie to you. There was someone. Okay, so I'm glad you said that because there was someone on the deepfakes that I was seeing a picture of, and I was like, "Who is that?" And then I did not realize it was Kobe. But that makes sense. Okay. Um, to me, the Heart Part 5. Um, I know early in the Discord I said it probably was his worst one, and not because it was bad. It's just when you make a series of something, something has to be the worst. I do not think that anymore. Um, I do think it is at the very least better than 4. Is in contention with the first one. I just think 2 and 3 are always gonna have my heart, at least for now. But it is one of them songs where you can tell he found a groove the longer it went. And like the subject matter really settled in for him, and it's just like he was really getting into a zone the farther along in the song it got. But to me, because Kendrick has produced for so long and like he's done so many different types of things and all this stuff, like that song could have been absolutely ass, and I still would have been like, I'm really excited for this Kendrick project, because it's just like you still never really know what type of stuff you're going to get, what he's going to do, like what type of subject matter is he going to tackle, like. And sometimes a lot of his singles don't even really, or it's like singles or like his feature runs don't highlight like what project he's about to drop or what he just did. So the quality of it was never really a concern for me because it was just like what it is. But I definitely appreciated it for what it is. I feel like a lot of people like try to use like people not listening to Kendrick outside, like just like on a day-to-day as like something against him, but you can just see the impact he has like with a music video. Like a lot of people do not have music videos that impact people anymore. Like it's really hard to do that now because that's just not the way most content is consumed. But I mean, he got 15 million views on a music video that he dropped 2 days ago. Like that's crazy. Like we do not get that type of stuff anymore.
Like Kendrick is an artist where I'll say this. I'm gonna shout out my boy Caleb for using this terminology on the TL, and I think it's a perfect description. We have so many artists now that are perfecting or trying to constantly cranking out illmatics. Let me explain that phrasing. The first time you do something, it's like, okay, this is great. But every other time after that, if you're kind of doing the same formula every single time, we can tell when the execution is off or you miss the mark after, like, if it's not that good or something like that. With Kendrick, it's like there's nothing in the, like, this is why I always compare him to Outkast, because there are a handful of people in the hip hop landscape that will drop something completely different every single album. That is a feat. That is a feat in itself. To execute on that, to execute every single time on that, that is an even greater feat. That's why I love about Kendrick. Like, his execution level is so high. Like, honestly, it's of course like going a long time and hearing the features running up, stuff like that. It can worry you. It's like, okay, Kendrick, is this what that wants? I'm like, I don't know about this. But then he gonna come back and he's going to prove it. And it's like, hey, you have nothing to worry about. I'm going to execute on this. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy what I'm about to put out. And that's what I love about him. Like, he's doing it. He's an artist. As a person, he is just inspiring. Like, he's inspiring to so many people. Any type of, if you're in music, if you're in art, if you're in like film or everything like that, he's just inspiring. He makes people want to not. He makes people want to shoot higher, and I feel like that's the greatest thing about Kendrick. Like, he does not. I don't want to take this person's words for just straight up copy their words, but he pretty much he makes sure he lets people know, hey, I don't want y'all to be mediocre. I want y'all to be great. So go put out something great and give it your all. And that's what I feel like. That's why I feel like Kendrick is so inspiring.
Yeah, man. Piggyback on what you said, it's like that's why I feel like he my favorite rapper ever. And then it's like I think Biggie the best rapper I ever heard, but with Kendrick, it's just like, bruh, I don't know what to expect with this new project, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, that's the good thing. It's like you can't really say that for everybody else because like you don't know like what this album gonna sound like. Like, you might get a taste. Like I saw how certain producers were saying like they had a song on the album. Like I saw Dahi, Boy Wonder, Soundwave, the usual. So it was like, okay, maybe it might sound like it might be a little damn, maybe, but at the same time, bro, you don't fucking know. And it's like it's been so long, bro. It's been fucking a half a decade since he done anything. Because I'm not counting that Black Panther shit. So I'm just say his last solo album was damn. So I'm just like, bro, I don't know, man. And the Hard Part 5, I was just so excited to hear him rap again, man. Cause
like not rapping, like rapping, like
yeah,
hey, because like Donovan, what you said, like I noticed it too with the song. He was like, at first, it sounded like this man was just doing spoken word. Like, don't get me wrong, I think like his pen was good, but like I could clear kind of tell, like, hey, he not on beat all the way. But as the song grew on, I was like, okay, yeah, this nigga is locked in. Like this nigga is hooping in terms. Like, I want to put this is I know how people feel about NBA rapper comparisons, but at the same time, I love them so much. Because I found a lot of them to be accurate. Like, I feel like Kendrick is the mix of, I would say Kendrick is Kobe and Kendrick is Kawhi. Cause
wait, why you say Kawhi though?
No, let me get to that.
Oh, okay.
When we think of Kawhi Leonard and Kobe, when we think of Kawhi Leonard, nobody ever says, hey, Kawhi not gonna show up in the playoffs. Hey, Kawhi never got going no silent in no must-win game. We all know Kawhi as this elite playoff performer, and somebody that you just never doubt in the playoffs. So that's why I think how Kendrick is with albums. Like,
ooh,
nobody can. And also, I said Kobe too because he's dedicated. Kendrick is dedicated to his craft and dedicated to being elite, and also an artist who just keeps trying and he doesn't give up and he's all constantly trying to push a boundary. Like, he's truly one of one. Like, I can never say, hey, there will be he has mama mentality. Like, I hate to use it, like, I don't want to be corny, but like when I think of an artist that just like Kendrick is that guy. Like, in terms of, we can talk about the other people in his class, but I'm not going to bash them. But like, it's just not many people like him. Just not even through like his volume class, not even through like history. I can truly say he's just unique. And there will never be another Kendrick Lamar in our lifetime. Maybe not even ever. Um, like, he dude is just amazing.
I think when it comes to hip hop and like, because hip hop is so new, but even though it's so new, it's already had so many different eras. I think it's safe to say like a lot of these rappers will never have another iteration of them again. At least the prominent ones, but especially not like people like the Kendricks and the Kanye's and the Jay-Z's and whatever. Like those upper echelon people, like, will never get that type of stuff again, because whatever, like, if you didn't, for the rappers that rap on whatever wave it is prominent at the time and sustain themselves through that, like, that is perfectly fine thing to do. And I would never like downplay any of that stuff, because that's hard to stand out when you are making rap that is sounds like whatever is popular at the time, and especially to stand out above everyone else. But when you do that, you have a lot less sustainability than everyone else, or well, than other people. Um, and it makes it so there's someone who can do the things that you do, and maybe in certain aspects do it a little bit better. But when you have these people that come out of these eras and go off of the status quo and just kind of do their own thing, it makes that stuff so much harder to imitate, because there's nothing else to compare it to. And like, because we're gonna have a whole new era of rap in probably like 2 3 years, especially with all the stuff that's happening in Atlanta now. Like, I can't imagine what is going to be popular in next summer.
I think that's a really good point. Like, I just don't like, when we think of just like what the next era is. Like, we had the blog era. Currently, we are in the streaming era. I won't know what's next, and I think that's exciting. I think that's exciting and terrifying at the same time, because it's like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if this shit finna be good or this shit finna be ass. Like, I don't know. Just don't know what to expect. But I do know one thing though. I do think um, hip hop can be a cycle at times. And when we know how people were complaining like in 2018 and 2017 about like the random wave of SoundCloud rappers just clout chasing like shit. Um, and just it was just like a very weird time. Like, that eventually passed, and like we just got like a whole new wave of artists. I just think it's just like, I feel like it's just a cycle more than anything. Like, so we just gonna have to see. Like, if it's ass, it's ass. If it's great, it's great. But I think like everything, there's ups and downs with each era. So I'm not just like super worried or anything like that. But I'm going to move on to the second part. Um, we're gonna go around the table and list our favorite Kendrick songs. 5 from each of us. So my first one, my top 5 is this, no in particular order. How much a dollar really cost? Mama, Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. Feel, and let's see. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put Hood Politics in there too. Donovan. Okay, and let me go in depth on why I put how much a dollar really costs. Recently I watched the podcast that Kendrick did in regards to Pimp a Butterfly and just the context of the song itself. And it basically being a parable saying like, hey, you didn't give this guy, you thought this guy was trying to scam you, be selfish, blah, 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 blah. And that dude ended up being God himself. And you're going to have to, and like Kendrick, you didn't do the right thing. Like the song is much more than that, but the whole theme of the song just in itself is just very important. And it's just always just something that stuck with me. And then also Mama is a very special song. Not to mention, first of all, Knowledge just went crazy on that beat. Second of all, just the back and forth perspectives on, and then Kendrick growing and seeing, hey, this is what I need to do in order to progress as an artist but more importantly, as a person, and in order to advance society and Black people. So those are like just two of my favorite Kendrick songs in the world. But like top five, like it's a Kendrick top five is just very hard in itself. So I don't feel like there's any. The only thing I would say is this. I feel like how much a dollar really costs, and Mama and Feel all need to be up there. Sing About Me, I'm Down First. Like I get that one, of course. But I gravitate towards Mama and Feel much more on a daily basis now in 2022. So Donovan, you are up next.
I'm going to say Feel, Fear, Mama, what? I think I want to say, I guess Never Catch Me. He's technically a feature, but I want to consider that. And I think my fifth one would be All Right. For me, at least speaking of All Right, I think a lot of times it's hard to make positivity music that sounds good.
It doesn't sound just like super preachy or like a Bible hymn.
Yeah, it's really hard to make positivity music. It's not preachy or corny, especially. Like that very easily, just based off of the subject matter and like even like the lyrics could have been something that was like, ugh. Like if Logic, imagine if Logic did that song, like Jesus Christ.
CIA torture.
It's like, yeah. So, and people play that at, people might play that at depending on the function. I've heard that song at weddings. Like people played it at sporting events. Like that song is very versatile and like where it can be presented at, because it speaks to so many different people and it presents itself in so many different ways. And like the message is just, it's simple and yet outstanding. It's uplifting. Like it's really, I think that's one of the hardest things to do in music, is to make a song like that that's not corny, and he did it in arguably the best way possible.
Now, I will say this, and this is something me and Dre talked about on the Most Def episode. It's very hard. I don't scratch that. On the Most Def episode, we talked about how on Most Def's influence and how he is one of the biggest people when it comes to making positive, uplifting music, empowering Black people. I feel like All Right is a perfect example of Most Def's influence. Like, I feel like you can hear it. Not to mention, first of all, I'll say this. Pharrell, I have been very skeptical on Pharrell in recent memory. He put his foot in that beat. He cooked on that beat. I'll say this too. And it's something that always plays in my head when I listen to Kendrick sometimes. When he says, I'll fuse, what's the bar? I fuse trap music with the Reek, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
What is the bar? I'm trying to figure out what exactly it is. I think it was on Black Friday.
Damn, I forgot about those Black Friday freestyles, bro. Cause then Cole rapped on All Right.
Yeah.
And then Kendrick was on Untitled Cities.
But he was like, I fuse trap music with the something. I can't remember what he rhymed it with. But I feel like All Right was a perfect example of that. So Donovan, I do agree. So Donovan, I do agree with you on that. Now, Reek, what is your top 5?
All right, so no order. So I got Poe Man Dreams on there. I gotta have a Section 80 song on there. I don't know why, but I feel like I don't know why. He just came for blood on that song. I got Mama. I got Complexions. I like Complexions. Shit. 2 more. I'm gonna say Duckworth, man. That whole with the story about his pops and Top Dog almost fucking blasting their fucking heads off and shit is still crazy. I was just like, I remember hearing that shit for the first time. I'm like, bro, these niggas is about to blast each other. And they didn't even know, like, could have prevented from Kendrick being one of the biggest niggas in rap. So I'm put Duckworth at number 4. Then 5, shit. Oh, by the way, Grant, listen to the Butterfly podcast on Spotify. If you whoever,
Yeah, that was the one I was talking about.
Yeah, that was a good listen, man. That was like it made me listen to the album even like I already listened to it more, but like I was like, bro, I gotta play this shit back with each episode with everything. And I would probably say I'm probably gonna have How Much Dollar Cost on there. Yeah, Poe Man Dreams, Duckworth, Mama. How Much Dollar Cost? I forgot the other one. That's cool. Well, shit. I'm gonna say that's 4. But I feel like that Poe Man Dreams verse is crazy, man. I was like, yeah, he fucking black with that shit.
I think Poe Man's Dreams is a perfect sum. If I were to introduce or like give a short summary of what Kendrick touches on in all of his music, for the most part, I feel like Poe Man's Dreams is not a perfect example, but it is a great example on the type of person Kendrick is. Kendrick has never claimed to be he has denounced being a conscious rapper for a very long time. Kendrick has always portrayed himself as this everyday guy, he goes through stuff, and one thing that he always relates to in his music is that he's always going to incorporate the concept of God in his music, some way, shape, or form. So I feel like Poe Man Streams is, I feel like it is one of the perfect Kendrick starter songs. If you were introducing somebody to Kendrick, like I'm not introducing somebody to Simple Butterfly, like in terms of like the first album for Kendrick to listen to. I would refer them to Damn or Section 80 first, because I don't have anything against Good Kid, Mad City. I feel like Damn is just, I'm gonna be honest. I feel like Damn is, in terms of songwriting, I feel like it's better.
Don't you feel like, I feel like everybody got introduced to Kendrick with Good Kid though. I feel like
it's true, but at the same time though, I feel like both albums are pretty commercially accessible. So I would go with either or. And also I feel like in terms of like in terms of types of songs Kendrick can make, I feel like Good Kid, Mad City does that pretty well. I feel like in terms of just overall songwriting and just like certain topics, like in terms of like subject matter per song, I feel like Damn is the perfect Kendrick album for that. To Pimp a Butterfly is much more of a, hey, I'm not gonna introduce this to y'all real, but it is a great album and it is very important in regards to Black artists, the industry itself, loving yourself, Black people, and more. So I feel like Damn and Good Kid, Mad City, or honestly Section 80, I feel like those are all pretty good pieces. Anything that isn't To Pimp a Butterfly off rip is what I'm introducing a non-Kendrick fan to first. But we are going to move on to the third and final segment of the episode. What do we think Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers is like? And what do we think Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers will be like? I'm gonna think this. I feel like there's been hints with the Heart Part 5 video that he dropped with all 6 faces that he put on there, which somehow I was surprised to see, of course. I feel like the album is partially about falling from grace and the highs and lows of being a figure in the Black community in some way, shape, or form. That's one thing. That's just one theory. The second one, I think the album is about egos and how our egos impact the Black community. Those are my 2 big guesses. Going off Mr. Morale and the Big Stepper. So I'm thinking Mr. Morale is the good. I don't think it's a double disc. Well, like he says a double disc, like shown on there, but like off real, like initially I thought it wasn't a double disc. I thought it was gonna be, hey, he is Mr. Morale and the Big Stepper are 2 completely different entities. One being, hey, I'm going to be like talking about the morality of these figures, and the Big Steppers being certain people in history, whoever they may be. We'll have to see, but I'm very interested to see what this album is going to be about, though. I feel like this isn't going to be polarizing like that, but at the same time, though, it's been 5 years, and we just got Damn, which was a pretty commercial album, commercially successful album. So I would say I wouldn't be surprised if this is polarizing, or I wouldn't be surprised if it's not polarizing. But I do think we're going to be in for a hot take. I think we will be in for a top 3 Kendrick album.
Top 3?
Yes.
So wait, what's your top 3 like already right now though?
My top 3 is To Pimp a Butterfly first, Good Kid, Mad City second, and then Damn third.
Okay. Yeah, mine the same, but I got Damn It too though. And I got Good Kid 3.
Hey, I'm gonna say this. I don't think that's a hot take at all. I think Damn has the higher highs in terms of songwriting. I feel like Damn is the better subject matter, the more preferable subject matter. As a whole, Kendrick talking about pretty much the price of fame, pretty much the duality of humans, the good and the bad, and how pretty much our decisions, like our constant struggle between the good and the bad, pretty much make us, and that humans are flawed in themselves. So I'm not mad at that. At you having it second at all. Where do you think? Yeah, where do you think Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers will rank?
Man, I don't know, man. That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the cool thing about Kendrick. You don't know like what it's gonna be like. So it's like, I don't know. I just gotta wait till Thursday night. Even then, Thursday night it's gonna be too soon. So I'm gonna need some time to think about it.
Yeah, definitely.
But I don't know, man. It's just like the Hard Part 5 give me hope. It's like, okay, so he's still rapping. So I can just imagine what he's doing. Even if it's a double disc too. So just like, I don't know. That's a cool thing about him, man. You just don't know how it's gonna sound, man. That's a cool shit. I don't even know, man. I can't even do rankings right now, bro. It's that hard.
I feel that. I feel that. Donovan, what about you, man?
To me, I think this one will be centered around like controversy and things of that nature. Hopefully, it is not a take off of cancel culture, because if it is, it will be nasty.
It's gonna get very bad.
But if it's just about controversy as a whole, with him putting OJ Simpson in there, I would think it would just be centered around controversy as a whole, and Kobe, because it's like all of these people, these things happened or allegedly happened, and it's not just like people deciding to be against you for no reason type thing. So I think it might be that. I mean, it is interesting to me with him doing that, only because I've never considered him controversial. I've considered him, he's certainly polarizing, but I've never considered him a controversial person, because he's never particularly been in anything or done anything to where people have been like, I don't know what side to pick in this or whatever. So it'll be interesting to hear his take on it, if that is what he decides to do. To me, as far as expectations, if this is going to be his last album on TDE, I mean, I feel like every Kendrick album he does, he tries to make it his best one. But I can certainly see this being better than Good Kid, Mad City. I will say, hot take, I do believe that Section 80 is better than Good Kid, Mad City.
I don't think that's super hot at all. I'm gonna say this.
For me, my Kendrick project orders are To Pimp a Butterfly, Damn, Section 80, and then Good Kid, and then Overly Dedicated. So
This
I can see it being in his top 3 very easily when this project is done.
this is what I'll say about Good Kid, Mad City. That album is special for many reasons that aren't the album itself. Not saying the album isn't great. I'm saying Kendrick was coming off of getting the West Coast torch, a crazy press run, etc. So many events surrounding that. And this is really a thought about classic albums too. The albums that we hold so highly just in history, you can also recollect. You can recollect the events around them too. I feel like that's what makes special them. That turns great albums into something that turns great albums into even greater albums. And even if it's intentional or not intentional, even if it isn't directly the music, that's why I feel like it's important. So that's why I feel like Good Kid, Mad City is rated so high on people's lists. I think To Pimp a Butterfly. I think To Pimp a Butterfly, of course, is number 1. But when people have Good Kid, Mad City directly at number 2, I don't really like. I'm not surprised by it, but I'm saying I'm not surprised by people having Damn there too, because both albums are super special in their own right. One of them significant. One of them shows, hey, Kendrick is here to stay in the rap game. I've gotten cosigns from pretty much every West Coast legend. They all love me. They want me to carry the torch. I'm not going to disappoint them. Damn is like, hey, I've made it. I am here. I'm going to show y'all what it's like to dealing with the price of fame. Dealing with like what it's like for just like talking about humanity in general. So I believe both albums are just very special in their own right. Now, last note, what do we, in shortest way possible, what do we think Kendrick's legacy is? I think Kendrick's legacy is being the greatest of his class. Never doing the same thing twice, being one of the best songwriters in hip hop ever, being pretty much one of the best complete rappers ever. I don't think there's many rappers you can say that are more complete than Kendrick, especially in regards to the topic of hooks. Considering we know so many rappers that have admitted to struggling with hooks and just say they're just not good at hooks in general. Kendrick, you can kind of tell it comes naturally to him. So I feel like just being one of the best, the most complete rappers ever, and just never doing and just constantly pushing a boundary, never doing the same thing twice, and always giving us something culturally relevant with each album. I think that's his legacy. Donovan or Rick, you are free to go. Reek, sorry. It's 10:30, man.
I appreciate you corrected it. But legacy talk. Legacy. Like you said, I mean, I feel like Butterfly had a huge part of it, man. Like the impact All Right had, it's like I feel like it all came in, especially when all the shit was going on in real life, all the riots and shit. So it's like he got that. It's like, then you can't forget about his Grammy performance. Niggas write that shit out so fast. That shit not even on YouTube no more. So that shit was real. That was the Michael the Berry performance, man. Had everybody shook. But his legacy, man, I don't know, man. I didn't really think too much of it. Cause like he only a couple albums in. I don't want him to be like, Tyler, I don't know, man. Legacy, I think he still got a little bit more in the tank.
I think so too. Like, I don't think this is his last album. I thought it was gonna be, but I was like, this is definitely not going to be his last album. Yeah. He has much more. I feel like this is truly the end of an era for Kendrick. Yeah. This is last album. This is last album TDE. I feel like this era I feel like the end of this era and the beginning of the next era are gonna be the stretches where he drops some of his most daring bodies of work. So that is my take on that. Now, Donovan, what would you say is his legacy?
I feel like Kendrick's legacy is I feel like he solidified himself. Well, I mean, he solidified himself a long time ago, but like, I think for most people who would consider themselves very into hip hop, I think he's solidified himself as a consistent person in majority of people's top 10, if not top 5, the same way that kind of Biggie and Jay and like Nas and Tupac are for most people. Like, I think it's very hard for people who are consistent consumers of rap and like really appreciate the art to keep him out of that. And I think that's really hard to do with such a subjective art form. Like, I think rap is arguably the most versatile music genre with just how many different types of sounds, which brings in so many different types of consumers. And he's consistently the one of the few people who everyone kind of recognizes as like, oh, that he's amazing. Like, no matter what type of rap you listen to, you might cut that off just to listen to some Kendrick. So I think that's what he solidified himself as. I mean, like y'all were talking about, he got the keys to the West Coast very, very, like, over 10 years ago. Like, that is crazy to think about. The legends recognized him so early, and he gave us what year did they give him the keys to the West Coast? This after Section?
This wasn't even after. This wasn't even.
I think this is like Section 80. Bro.
This wasn't even after Good Kid, Mad City dropped.
So he gave us arguably.
He's still at the high top fade, bro.
He gave us arguably at least 2 classics after that, which is insane. And that just depends on. He gave us at least 1. Depending on who you ask, it's 2. And
depending on who you ask, it might be 3.
Depending on who you ask, it might be 3. So like, he's just a consistent performer, really. Like, from everything that he does, everything that he touches and raps, you could tell that he puts 100% in, from his videos to his songs to his beat selection to the melodies to when he decides to do his own hooks and sing and harmonize. Like, everything about that, he is 100% in, and he goes full force in it. Like, the performances on BET and the Grammys, like, everything about that was 100% him, and he made sure to put his heart and soul into those things. And it's really hard to get good performances out of people, especially now. Like, I mean, with videos, and because videos are dying out in itself already, I feel like it's really hard to get more than people just rapping over different backgrounds and scenes, which is it is what it is at that point. But like, it's really hard to get themes and stuff. And then with performances, I go to concerts quite often, and like, it's not many people that perform without just like the backing vocals and just letting the crowd kind of finish out things that they have to say, and just kind of letting people engage how they want to engage, and you're just kind of miming up on stage what you have to. And that is what it is in itself. But like, he is a true artist and true performer and a true appreciator of the art form, and whatever he raps about, samples, all this stuff. And like I said earlier, I think the only person artistically who compares or who is on his level is like Beyonce. And that's why people let him do the things that he does, and he can utilize who he needs to utilize and sample what he needs to sample, because all these other people know, one, he's going to put his heart into it, but two, he appreciates it, and he's not just using it for monetary gain.
So, like, I think you said it perfectly, Donovan. Like, especially on the performances part, like in some music videos, like the amount of music videos I just see of a bunch of dudes just standing around is pretty high. And then also, same for like, it's just like, there's no, with him, his music videos are so captivating. And with everybody else, it's just like they're just redundant. Like, the only other person I would say isn't that way is maybe Tyler, the Creator. Like, that's the only other person, like in terms of like the rappers in his class, like that's the only other person I can say, hey, I know this person not gonna do the same thing twice. But like, in terms of like just what he talks about each album, nobody else is doing that on a mainstream level with a high execution level that he does. So I do agree with you on that, on him just being like performances and that, like with him on performances and everything like that. But I believe we are going to wrap it up there. I appreciate y'all for coming on this episode with me. First of all, I would like to shout out Donovan. Donovan is also an artist himself. Stream $30. Stream Photogenic. Shout out Reach. Just for being here. I appreciate him. And a shout out to y'all for supporting me. Y'all are the reason that I keep writing and keep wanting to write, because y'all always give me good feedback, and y'all are also y'all all pretty good on supporting me as well. So I appreciate y'all. But we will be back with another episode of the Groovy Files pretty soon. Have not decided what I'm going to do for episode 4, but I will announce that as soon as it's ready. So other than that, I appreciate y'all. Groovy is signing out.
Sir, Goofy Gert.